The Signal and the Awakening. Commander Ilara Chen stared at the pulsing red alert on her monitor, her dark eyes narrowing as she analyzed the incoming transmission. The message was fragmented, distorted by what appeared to be weapons fire in the background. Only 3 words came through clearly before the signal died. "They're here. Help." The transmission originated from Outpost Triton, humanity's furthest scientific installation near the edge of the Orion Arm. For years, humanity had maintained a carefully crafted image of peaceful explorers and traders, establishing outposts primarily for scientific research and diplomatic engagement with other species across the galaxy. "Run the authentication protocol again," Ilara ordered, her voice steady despite the tension building in her chest. Lieutenant Kapoor's fingers danced across the holographic interface. "Signal authenticated, Commander. It's from Triton, and it follows all emergency protocols." The transmission was cut approximately 8 seconds after initiation. Ilara rose from her command chair aboard Watchtower Station, an unassuming orbital platform that secretly housed one of Earth's most sophisticated communication hubs. She moved to the large viewport and gazed out at the endless sea of stars. They looked peaceful from here. "What was Triton's last status report?" she asked. "All clear, Commander. Regular update transmitted 36 hours ago. The science team was conducting standard xenobiological research. Security detail reported nothing unusual." Ilara's mind raced through possibilities. Triton sat at the very edge of human territory, close to the expansion zone of the Varaxian Empire. The Varaxians were a militaristic species known for their territorial aggression, but for decades they had respected the boundaries established by the Galactic Concordat. "Show me the star chart," she commanded. The view screen shifted to display a 3-dimensional map of the sector. Outpost Triton blinked red near the boundary line. 3 other human outposts were marked in green, forming a loose perimeter along the border. "Check the status of the other outposts," Ilara ordered. Minutes passed as Lieutenant Kapoor sent encrypted queries through subspace channels. His face paled. "Commander, outposts Helios and Artemis are not responding to standard communications." Ilara felt ice form in her stomach. 1 outpost going silent could be equipment failure. 3 outposts meant something far worse. "Alert Admiral Zhao immediately. Mark this as security level Omega and prep my shuttle. I need to get to Luna Base now." As her crew rushed to follow orders, Ilara entered her private office and activated her secure terminal. She placed her palm on the scanner, then leaned forward for retinal verification. The computer hummed softly, then opened a hidden file directory that only commanders of her rank could access. The file was simply named Project Cerberus. For generations, humanity had presented itself to the galaxy as peaceful explorers and traders. Their ships were scientific vessels, their stations dedicated to research and commerce. This was the face that alien civilizations saw, a young species eager to learn and share. It was all carefully crafted deception. Beneath the surface of Mars, hidden in asteroid belts, concealed within gas giant moons, humanity had built the largest and most advanced war fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Ships with weapon systems that violated every arms limitation treaty Earth had signed. Soldiers genetically enhanced for combat in every environment. AI systems designed specifically for strategic warfare against known alien physiologies and technologies. All waiting for a signal, all hidden in plain sight. Ilara downloaded the Cerberus activation codes to her secure tablet and destroyed all traces of her access. If her suspicions were correct, if the Varaxians had finally moved against human territory, she would need these codes. 30 minutes later, her shuttle detached from Watchtower Station. As the small craft accelerated toward the nearest jump point, Ilara reviewed the sparse information they had. The distress signal contained no details about what had happened at Triton, just the emergency code and those 3 haunting words. Standard procedure when under attack was to send as much data as possible. Sensor readings, enemy ship configurations, Weapon signatures. The complete lack of such information suggested the attack had been swift and overwhelming. Lieutenant, while we're in transit, pull all intelligence reports on Varaxian fleet movements for the past month, she said. Yes, Commander, but our intelligence on Varaxian military operations is limited. Their stealth technology makes their ships difficult to track. Ilara nodded. This was true. Varaxian technology had always been slightly ahead of human capabilities in certain areas. Their stealth fields could bend light and sensor scans around their vessels, making them nearly invisible to conventional detection methods. Nearly invisible, but not completely. Check for gravitational anomalies in the sector. Their stealth fields can hide their ships from optical and electromagnetic sensors, but they still have mass. The jump point appeared ahead, a shimmering distortion in space where the fabric of reality was thin enough to pierce. The shuttle aligned itself, then accelerated. For one disorienting moment, Ilara felt her body stretch and compress simultaneously as they passed through the quantum tunnel. When they emerged, Earth's solar system lay before them. The blue-green jewel of humanity's homeworld shone in the distance, surrounded by the glittering lights of defense platforms and civilian stations. Her communication console chirped. Commander Chen, this is Earth Orbital Control. Admiral Zhao has requested you proceed directly to Luna Base. A security team will meet your shuttle. Understood, Control. Setting course for Luna. As they approached the moon, Ilara stared at the seemingly barren surface. Few outsiders knew that beneath those gray plains lay the heart of human military command, a vast complex carved into the lunar bedrock, protected by layers of defenses both obvious and hidden. Her thoughts returned to the silent outposts and the people stationed there. If the Varaxians had attacked, there would be no survivors. Their military doctrine did not allow for prisoners or witnesses. Humanity had prepared for this day. The massive fleet they had built in secret, the weapons they had developed despite treaty restrictions, the soldiers they had trained, all would soon be revealed. The war that was coming would reshape the power structure of the galaxy, and it had begun with a simple distress signal from the edge of human space. Captain Marcus Reed's cryosleep pod hissed open, cold air rushing out as his eyes snapped awake. His mind cleared instantly despite having been frozen for nearly 7 years, the neural implant at the base of his skull warming as it connected with the ship's systems, feeding information directly into his brain. Date: July 17, 2287. Status: Emergency activation. Alert level: Omega. Command: Project Cerberus active. Marcus's heart raced. Those 3 words, Project Cerberus active, were ones he had trained to respond to for 15 years, but never expected to hear. It meant war had finally come. He pulled himself from the pod, his muscles responding perfectly thanks to the electrical stimulation they had received during cryosleep. The floor of the chamber was cold against his bare feet as he quickly dressed in the black uniform that had been waiting in the storage compartment beside his pod. Around him, 11 other pods were opening, his senior officers waking up too, their faces showing the same mix of surprise and determination. They had all volunteered for this duty, knowing they might sleep for decades before being called upon, or never be called at all. Captain on deck, called Commander Sato, his executive officer, as she spotted him. Marcus waved away the formality. Status report, Commander. All systems activating according to protocol, she replied, checking her tablet. The Nemesis is waking up. Marcus nodded and moved to the wall panel, pressing his palm against it. The wall slid open to reveal a corridor that led to the bridge. As he walked, he could feel the massive ship coming to life around him. Lights brightened, equipment hummed, and the artificial gravity strengthened to Earth normal levels. The secret base under Europa's ice sheet was one of dozens scattered throughout the solar system and beyond. For generations, humanity had built its hidden fleet, preparing for the day when the peaceful facade they showed to the galaxy would need to be cast aside. Marcus reached the bridge and took his seat in the command chair. The view screens around him showed the massive underwater dock where the TSS Nemesis, the flagship of the Shadow Fleet, had waited in darkness for this moment. "Ship status?" he asked. "All systems green, Captain," reported Lieutenant Santos from the operations station. "Weapon systems online. Shields at full capacity. Quantum drives charging. Communications secure channel established with Fleet Command. Admiral Zhao is waiting to speak with you," added Lieutenant Park. Marcus nodded. "Put her through." The main screen flickered to show Admiral Zhao's face. The older woman looked tired but determined. "Captain Reed, the Varaxians have attacked 3 of our outposts near the Perseus Arm. Project Cerberus has been activated. Your orders are to take the first strike group and neutralize the Varaxian forward command post in the Rigel system." Marcus's mind raced through the implications. Rigel was a heavily fortified Varaxian military installation. Attacking it would be a declaration of total war. "Understood, Admiral. Time to target. 6 hours at maximum speed. The 6th and 9th strike groups will provide support once you've engaged." Zhao paused, her expression grave. "Remember, Captain, this is not a limited operation. The Council has authorized full deployment of the Shadow Fleet." Marcus felt the weight of those words. Full deployment meant revealing humanity's true military might to the galaxy, a secret they had kept for nearly a century. "Rules of engagement?" he asked. "Military targets only. Avoid civilian casualties where possible. But make no mistake, Captain, we are sending a message. The Varaxians must understand that attacking humanity was the worst mistake they could have made." "Yes, ma'am. We'll make that clear." As the communication ended, Marcus turned to his crew. "Sound general quarters. Begin launch sequence." Throughout the massive underwater facility, similar scenes were playing out as other ships awakened. The Shadow Fleet consisted of 7,000 warships, each more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. They had been built in secret, their technologies reverse-engineered from a dozen alien civilizations and enhanced by humanity's unique innovations. On Mars, beneath the Olympus Mons shield facilities, 10 cruiser squadrons began powering up their weapons. In the asteroid bases of the Kuiper Belt, stealth destroyers detached from their hidden docks. Within the hollowed-out moons of Jupiter, carrier groups launched their fighter wings for the first time outside of simulations. Across human space, ships that had appeared to be simple merchant vessels suddenly shed their civilian facades, revealing weapons arrays and armor plating beneath false hulls. Research outposts activated defense systems that violated every weapons limitation treaty Earth had ever signed. Mining stations transformed into battle cruisers as hidden compartments opened to reveal their true purpose. Back on the Nemesis, Marcus watched as his bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency despite years in cryosleep. They moved as if they had been on active duty all along, a testament to the neural training programs that had kept their skills sharp even while they slept. "Captain," Commander Sato reported, "we're receiving fleet status updates. 97% of vessels reporting operational readiness. Estimated time to full deployment, 4 hours." Marcus nodded, feeling the weight of history upon his shoulders. Generations of humans had built this fleet, hoping it would never be needed. Now it would be his responsibility to lead the first strike. "Begin the jump sequence," he ordered. "Our first target is the Varaxian forward command post in the Rigel system." The massive doors above the underwater dock began to part, revealing Jupiter's swirling clouds in the distance. Throughout the solar system, similar secret bases were opening, releasing the ships of the Shadow Fleet into space. On screens across the bridge, thousands of ships appeared as they dropped their cloaking fields for the first time. The true extent of humanity's military might became visible. The vessels moved into formation with practiced precision, arranging themselves into strike groups and battle clusters. The Nemesis rose from its dock, its engines glowing with blue fire as it accelerated toward the jump point. Marcus looked at the tactical display, showing the thousands of ships now under his command. "The Varaxians thought they were attacking a weak opponent," he said quietly. They're about to learn how wrong they were. As the fleet prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Marcus knew that the galaxy would never be the same after today. The peaceful humans who had seemed so unthreatening for so long were about to reveal themselves as the most formidable military power the stars had ever known. And it had all begun with a simple distress signal. The revelation and the response. High Commander Tesker stood tall on the bridge of the Varaxian flagship Eternal Glory, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under the ship's crimson lighting. The tactical display before him showed the successful capture of 3 human outposts, precisely as planned. His mandibles clicked in satisfaction as he studied the holographic representation of their conquest. "Status report," he demanded, his 4-fingered hand tapping against the command console. Sub-Commander Vrex bowed slightly before responding, careful to maintain the proper angle of deference required by Varaxian military protocol. "The human colony of Triton has fallen exactly as projected, High Commander. Our forces have secured the main settlement and the research facilities. The quantum resonance crystals are even more abundant than our scans suggested." Tesker allowed himself a small expression of pleasure, the bioluminescent patches on his neck glowing briefly. This operation would certainly earn him favor with the Varaxian High Council. The humans had proven themselves to be exactly what Varaxian intelligence had reported: technologically capable, but militarily weak. A species of traitors and diplomats who hid behind treaties rather than weapons. "Begin extraction immediately," Tesker ordered. "I want those crystals loaded onto our transport ships within the cycle." "What of the human defenders?" "Minimal resistance, High Commander," Vrex reported. "Their security forces were equipped with basic weaponry only. Most surrendered when our primary battle group arrived. Those who resisted were eliminated. And their communication systems disabled as planned. We intercepted one partial distress signal before their primary array was destroyed, but it contained no tactically significant information." Tesker dismissed this with a wave of his hand. "It matters not. By the time their central command receives the message and organizes a response, we will have secured all strategic objectives in this sector." The tactical display updated, showing 5 more human outposts marked for the next phase of conquest. The Eternal Glory sensors showed no significant military presence in the area, just the typical civilian traffic and a few pathetic patrol vessels that posed no threat to a Varaxian battle cruiser. "Prepare the battle groups for the next phase," Tesker ordered. "We will strike the remaining outposts simultaneously. Have the science division analyze the human research data. I want to know if they've developed anything of value." "As you command, High Commander." Tesker turned his attention to the galactic map. For too long, the Varaxian Empire had honored treaties with inferior species, allowing them to claim territories rich in resources. No more. This operation against the humans would demonstrate to the galaxy that the Varaxians were ascending to their rightful place as the dominant power. The humans would submit or be crushed. Either outcome was acceptable. A proximity alarm blared on the bridge of the Eternal Glory, interrupting Tesker's contemplation of future conquests. "High Commander," Vrex called out, his voice betraying uncharacteristic alarm. "Multiple unknown vessels dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system." "Impossible," Tesker snapped. "Human response vessels cannot reach this sector for at least another 9 cycles. Show me." The tactical display shifted, and Tesker's mandibles clicked in surprise. Hundreds of ships, no, thousands, were appearing at the system's edge, their configurations unlike anything in the Varaxian database. "Origin," he demanded. "The signatures match human technology, High Commander, but..." Vrex hesitated. "These are not civilian vessels. They appear to be purpose-built warships. Our sensors detect advanced weapons arrays and shield generators that far exceed known human military capabilities." Tesker stared at the display in disbelief. "That is not possible. Our intelligence confirms the humans have no significant military fleet. These must be vessels from another species." "Negative, High Commander." Authentication codes and communication patterns are definitively human. But these ships, they should not exist. Before Tesker could respond, the communication officer called out, "Incoming transmission from the lead vessel. High Commander. They are broadcasting on all frequencies." On screen, Tesker ordered. The image of a human appeared on the main view screen. He wore a black uniform with no insignia that Tesker recognized from their intelligence briefings. "This is Captain Marcus Reed of the Terran Shadow Fleet. You have attacked sovereign human territories and killed human citizens. The peaceful facade of humanity ends today." The human's voice was cold, devoid of emotion, not the tone of a diplomat seeking negotiation. "Your forces will immediately withdraw from all human outposts and surrender those responsible for ordering these attacks, or face complete annihilation. You have 5 minutes to comply." The transmission ended abruptly. Tesker fought to maintain his composure as his officers looked to him for guidance. Terran Shadow Fleet. No such organization existed in any intelligence briefing. "Tactical assessment," he demanded. The tactical officer worked frantically at his station, analyzing the sensor data streaming in. "High Commander, preliminary scans indicate these vessels possess weapon systems that violate multiple arms limitation treaties established by the Galactic Concordat. Their energy signatures suggest firepower that exceeds our own by a factor of at least 3. We are outmatched." For the first time in his distinguished military career, Tesker felt fear crawl along his spine. "This is a deception," he declared, though with less certainty than he intended. "The humans are peaceful colonizers. They have no military industry capable of producing such a fleet. The evidence suggests otherwise, High Commander," Vrex said quietly. "These ships are real, and they have us surrounded." Tesker's mind raced. His battle group consisted of 20 warships, a formidable force against the token resistance they had expected from the humans, but against thousands of advanced warships. They stood no chance. "Contact High Command," he ordered. "Request immediate reinforcements. All ships. Assume defensive formation. Prepare tow." He never finished the sentence. The first volley from the human fleet struck with devastating precision. The Eternal Glory's shields collapsed instantly under an assault unlike anything Tesker had ever witnessed. Across the system, the other Varaxian vessels suffered similar fates. The human attack was surgical and overwhelming, targeting weapons systems, engines, and command centers with impossible accuracy. On the bridge of the Eternal Glory, systems failed in cascading sequence as Tesker struggled to comprehend what was happening. The humans had deceived them, deceived the entire galaxy, with a false image of peaceful weakness. Behind that mask lay a military machine of terrifying efficiency. "All vessels, retreat," he ordered desperately. "Jump to emergency coordinates." But it was too late. The Nemesis and its escort ships had already closed to point-blank range, their weapons carving through the Varaxian vessels with merciless precision. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Captain Reed watched the tactical display with cold satisfaction as the Varaxian fleet crumbled before them. "Target the flagship's engines," he ordered. "I want it disabled, not destroyed. The rest can be eliminated." "Aye, Captain," Lieutenant Santos acknowledged, inputting the commands. Precision strike on the Varaxian flagship complete. Their propulsion systems are offline. They're dead in space. Around the Nemesis, the rest of humanity's Shadow Fleet executed a perfectly coordinated attack. Varaxian vessels exploded in silent bursts of light and debris as humanity revealed its true military might for the first time. "Open a channel to the Varaxian flagship," Reed ordered. The face of a visibly shaken Varaxian commander appeared on screen. "This is what happens when you mistake patience for weakness, Commander," Reed said coldly. "Humanity has never been the peaceful species we pretended to be. We simply chose not to reveal our strength until necessary." The Varaxian commander's voice trembled with a mixture of fear and rage. "Impossible. Your species has no history of military technology." Reed's laugh was without humor. "History is written by those who control the narrative, Commander. For generations, we have built our forces in secret reverse engineering technology from a dozen species, improving upon it, and developing weapons that would give us overwhelming superiority when needed. He leaned forward, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. You attacked what you thought was a defenseless prey. Instead, you awakened a predator that has been watching and waiting in the shadows. The tactical officer interrupted. Captain, we're detecting Varaxian reinforcements moving toward the Perseus arm. Reed nodded. It seems your high command doesn't understand the situation yet. Perhaps a more dramatic demonstration is required. He turned to his communications officer. Signal the 7th and 12th strike groups. Target the Varaxian military base in the Aldebaran system. He returned his attention to the stunned Varaxian commander. You will be our witness. Your ship's systems are disabled, but your sensors and communications remain functional. Watch carefully and report to your leaders what happens when someone attacks humanity. On the tactical display, hundreds more human warships appeared near Aldebaran, a key Varaxian military stronghold. Within minutes, the base, believed to be impregnable, was reduced to orbiting debris. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy as humanity's hidden fleet revealed itself simultaneously in dozens of star systems. Research stations transformed into fortress platforms. Civilian ships shed their peaceful facades to reveal advanced weapons arrays. Mining facilities unveiled massive defensive capabilities. The carefully constructed illusion of a peaceful, technologically developing species dissolved, replaced by the reality of humanity as a military superpower that had been hiding in plain sight. 3 days later, Commander Ilara Chen stood in the observation lounge of Luna Base, watching Earth rotate slowly below. The diplomatic channel was open, displaying the faces of representatives from 24 species, including the Varaxian High Council. Admiral Zhao's voice was calm but carried unmistakable authority as she addressed the galactic community. For generations, humanity has maintained peace through deception. We presented ourselves as explorers and traders while building the most advanced military force the galaxy has ever seen. We did this not out of aggression, but out of caution, knowing that in a universe filled with predators, appearing weak is an invitation to attack. The Varaxian representative, still shaken by the complete destruction of their offensive capabilities, spoke with careful deference. The Varaxian Empire formally withdraws all forces from human territories and offers reparations for the regrettable actions taken against your outposts. Admiral Zhao acknowledged this with a slight nod. Accepted. But understand this, the facade has been dropped permanently. From this day forward, humanity will no longer pretend to be what we are not. We seek peaceful coexistence with all species, but we will respond with overwhelming force to any threat. As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to Admiral Zhao. Do you think they'll honor the peace? Zhao smiled thinly. They have no choice. Project Cerberus has changed the balance of power forever. Our deception protected us when we were truly vulnerable. Now our strength will deter future aggression. Ilara looked out at the stars again, thinking of the distress signal that had started it all. 3 simple words that had unveiled humanity's greatest secret. They had revealed themselves as a species that valued peace enough to prepare extensively for war. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Captain Reed received new orders from Fleet Command. The Shadow Fleet would remain deployed, a visible reminder of humanity's power. The days of hiding were over. As he looked at the tactical display, showing human forces securing their borders across the galaxy, Reed thought about the generations of preparation that had led to this moment. The foresight of leaders who understood that, in a dangerous universe, the best way to maintain peace was to possess overwhelming strength and the will to use it. The distress signal had awakened a sleeping giant, and the galaxy would never be the same again.